And joining me is artist Sean Gordon Murphy. Do you go by the Sean Gordon Murphy in your day-to-day life? You just stick to Sean Murphy.
No, yeah, Sean
Okay.
Murphy. That started when I was registering a .com, and SeanMurphy.com was taken by some photographer. So I used my middle name, and then when I signed up to DeviantArt, I'm like, well, I guess I'll use my middle name again. And now, if I introduce myself to some people as Sean Murphy at a convention, they're like, "Who?" I have to say all three before they get it. So
Gotcha.
it's not a pretentious thing. You can call me whatever you want.
I hope that this Sean Murphy guy then really someday pays it forward to you of like I've gotten a lot of attention from comic book fans and I've really I don't know where the
Yeah,
spike came from. So thank you,
yeah.
you know.
The other famous Sean Murphy is a baseball player who there was a meme of him like 2 years ago where someone threw a pitch at him and it hit him in the, I can't remember if it was in the ass or in the balls. So if you're looking for porn of me and you put in Sean
Yeah.
Murphy balls, you're not going to get me.
And all of a sudden now those certain sites will see a spike in traffic of Sean
Yeah.
Murphy balls. Huh. Yeah, put your safe search on people. Uh
Yeah.
you're once again, I don't take this for granted. I'm sitting down and I'm talking to you. It's always great opportunity to sit and talk to you on podcasting. I got some messages from people that they said that they're like I like when we like you and Sean podcasts, there's good questions and there's good rapport. And I'm like, that just means I didn't screw it up. Sean's a
Yeah.
professional, and it means I didn't botch it because he came back for another round. So it's not lost on me, and I appreciate it that
No, no,
we're
no. I
sitting down
appreciate
talking
it.
again.
Yeah, no, I've been doing a lot of these for Last Driver, so hopefully I'll find some more interesting, cool new things to say.
Yeah,
Or if you ever found any questions from people, take it
yeah.
whatever direction you want.
Just fire away. The main reason, I mean, I've got a whole 2 pages worth of questions for you, but those are for like if I, can't just keep firing
Mhm.
questions at you. And first off, I want to
Right,
ask,
for awkward pauses, you mean?
yeah, those awkward pauses.
Right. Like
I don't think
this
I
one?
have many awkward pauses. I talk way too much in my day to day that I don't. If anything, people are probably like, I wish I could get some awkward pauses with Ryan. He's just
Yeah.
don't stop.
What is
You're
sorry, what is your day-to-day job?
my day to day. Oh, I work at a TV network in Chicago,
Oh,
and
cool.
I make
A lot of
commercials.
money. Commercials, cool.
It's fun.
Do
I
people
haven't said
notice
it on
about you?
here.
Like, do
On
regular listeners
here,
notice?
on here, no.
Right.
Because I never knew, but the place I work for has multiple networks, and I'll tell you the place off mic, just because, and they wouldn't care. They've even asked me, "Have you ever mentioned us on your podcast?" I'm like, "No,"
Right.
because I don't know. I don't, try to keep that a little separate. But the place
Sure.
has multiple networks, channels. So for people that don't know, networks are like nationwide channels instead of just
Mhm.
local, whatever. So I make commercials for that, and one of the networks that we have is a cartoon like network, and it's classic cartoons. So it's got all the Hanna-Barbera stuff. It's got old Fleischer
Oh,
cartoons. It's got Ninja Turtles. Which,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
oh my
Right.
God, when I finally
Right.
got to do Ninja Turtles, I do that, and I got to do a spot actually that was one um where they call them image spots, and it's like showing this is all the different shows that we have, and find some kind of fun way to include like we've got this cartoon, this one. And so
Yeah.
I said, well, what if the selling point is we put the car in cartoons and we show all these like famous like the Flintstones, Jetsons, the Mystery Machine, Speed
Hmm.
Racer, like Batmobile, all that stuff. And I said, in
Right.
the style of like an early 90s like monster truck uh
Mm.
spot. And so you've got a voiceover
Yeah.
guy that's really reading it. So like roar, 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 whatever. It's probably the funnest
Yeah.
thing I've ever done for a job. And
That sounds cool. Yeah.
I couldn't
Yeah.
believe I got paid for that. That's the
Mostly.
crazy thing.
Yeah. 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 Is that searchable on YouTube?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
That's one thing I don't like talking like about my work. So that's where I also have respect that you're going to be sitting here talking about you. Because I don't like talking about myself. But that's
Mhm.
like one thing where I'm like, I'll show this. Like I'm
Right.
happy with this. It's a from pitch to uh, you know,
Yeah.
to air. It was like completely my idea, no notes from the higher ups or anything. And I'm like, that's just something that you would
Yeah.
know. You create things, and if you're like, wow, I feel like I nailed that, and there's no pushback or like no notes, it's like I don't
Hmm.
know, it's a good feeling of accomplishment. Like it's a really nerdy, dorky thing, and I
Yeah.
nailed
Yeah.
it. And
Yeah.
people can
That or
see it.
they weren't listening and they don't care,
That too.
which is
There's
still green light, which is fine.
exactly. There's one of
Yeah.
like maybe they aren't paying attention to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's too much money involved that they
No, I know
saw
they
it.
are. I know they are. Yeah. I think with comics, the capital is so low. Sometimes people really aren't. They just trust you know what you're doing, and
Yeah.
yeah. But funny. Like I generally don't talk about myself.
Hmm.
If I'm at a party or whatever, I try not to mention what I do because
Yeah.
I know it's going to take over a conversation. Like, wait, Batman? What do you mean? They still sell
Hmm.
comics? Where do you get them? Blah blah blah. Like that's cool. Um, and I'm happy to talk about it because I'm very much an open book, which you
Yeah.
know. But I don't want to suck the life out of a conversation and hog it. Like I like to laser focus on people and ask them questions, kind of like
Yeah.
me asking you about, your TV stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like really going on and on about myself, it really only happens when I'm doing podcasts.
Hmm.
Like I can do it. It's just, yeah, I feel like sometimes it's in balance, and I kind of like to get the interviewer to try to throw in at least 50% or 40% at least.
Yeah.
Um, like some interviews you'll listen to where a creator could just go on and on and on, and that's either Asperger's or loneliness or
Yeah.
just we don't get out that often, so you can kind of forget to take your turn. Be careful and precise.
Yeah. The with work, people like some people have even asked me about with like, oh, so you have a, you podcast, your podcast, how's your podcast? And it's just like an
Yeah,
instant like that's where I get uncomfortable. And I'm like, it's fine. Hey, look at a bird's outside. And they're like, what? And then I take off. I bail because I'm like,
right.
Eric, you know that's not you're in marketing and that's not good marketing for your podcast, right, Ryan? You don't
Mhm.
want to talk about it. I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't know. Like just
Right.
listen, I
Yeah. Yeah.
guess. Here it
Yeah.
is. Um,
No, I find that even at conventions, like if I'm hanging out with Scott Snyder, I'm doing maybe 20% of the talking. It's mostly listening.
I believe that.
Um,
I don't know
jo-
Scott,
jo-
but I've listened enough that I believe that
yeah.
for sure.
Like I think, yeah, Matteo Scalera, probably 50-50. My friend and assistant Jake, fifty
Mhm.
fifty. But I'm mostly just happy to listen. I'm pretty well adjusted and even keeled, and I've had a good career. So if someone needs to bend my ear at a bar,
Mhm.
that's fine. I'm here to listen and help if I can. I really do try to like think of this as a village, and if I'm a village elder, if I could help somebody else out, then I'm happy to do it. Just
Yeah.
yeah.
You mentioned conventions and you just did one in Denver. How did that one go?
Good. Yeah, I used to live in Arvada, which is just outside of Denver. So we went a few days early, drove in the mountains through Independent Pass, which is like the back door to Aspen. It's very scary roads, which is we think is cool. And then stayed in Leadville, which was one of the highest towns in the country. Like you
Oh,
go up a flight of stairs and you have a hard time breathing because the air is. I mean, it's not like Mount Kilimanjaro, but it's still
yeah.
noticeably different than ground level.
Yeah.
Yeah, then Denver, people were awesome. Food is great. Um, yeah, we didn't make as much money as I hoped, and I'm wondering if like that show has turned into more of a media celebrity
Mm,
show.
yeah.
Um, it's always interesting what the balance is at a convention because having movie stars there brings in crowds. So
Yeah.
we want some of that. Do
Yeah.
we want it to take over and suck the money out of the room? No. Or maybe there's too many, anime vendors selling pins and things
Yeah.
like that. Like, what is the five sectors of a convention, and like, are they actually balanced? And it's a moving target, so you never know.
Sure. Well, I mean, you pinpoint a little bit. There was one that I was getting excited about in Chicago, and then they finally released, and I mean, it is one. It has a lot of big names, all media, and it's got comic people as
Yeah.
well. But the big name media people, they announced them, and I started to get really excited. And then they
Mhm.
showed what the pricing for that is, and
Yeah.
I'm like, the amount of money just me getting in the door,
Yeah.
and now to make my day worth it. I'm just seeing money signs. I'm like, God, that really
Yeah.
took some
Yeah.
wind out of the sails as opposed to the con that I've
Yeah.
gotten to meet you at a couple times in Chicago, the C2E2. Like that's a very
Yeah.
large comic book based in which
Yeah.
it's like all that money is going to, I say I go
Yeah.
to your booth, I'm going to spend money. And I like I saw Jeff Loeb this year, Klaus Janson, I'm like, I'm going to spend money and it's not so
Yeah.
draining by the time I get there to
Yeah,
I can actually
yeah.
spend money on, the people
Yeah.
that I'm meeting.
That's the thing. I mean, yeah, I think creators can forget that, driving into a city, paying for parking, hotel, taking your kids. I mean, it's not as expensive Disneyland, but
Yeah.
people are already out $200 or $300 before they even get in. Um, so yeah, especially with the economy being what it is, oil, war with Iran, whatever, like I can
Yeah.
see why people are pulling back. Um, Usually I'll do a $50 for like a quick remark, which
Hmm.
normally takes like 10 or 20 seconds. It's just a doodle. But people weren't spending money on sketches. So I started to really do like a minute long remark. So I gave people more than their money's worth. But if it wasn't for that at Denver, we wouldn't have made as much. So you had
Yeah.
to bend the rules. Everyone walks away happy. If I have to work a little harder, it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, I'd say to anybody who will listen, and the last time that I saw you there in Chicago, and I was with one of my friends, and he's a big comic book guy, and he left. I talked big up, and I tell everybody about like go to Sean's table because I do feel, and I've heard you talk about this plenty on podcasts too, of kind of like why you have the your five free signatures and your
Stick.
reasoning behind that, and like you just
Yeah.
described of your remarks and everything. But not only that, but like I think you're a good conversationalist. And like you said it when we started recording, like you asked the other person the questions. And I think it does create this engagement where people do walk away like happy and they're like, I'll come here again and go to that guy. And
Yeah.
I mean, you've I'm a nobody, and you've podcasted with me a few times, and I'm like, I'm gonna buy something at the booth, and then
Yeah.
you just, I don't know, I don't think you're unreasonable at all, and so anybody that listens, I am just like, if Sean's there, go to his booth. And another
Yeah.
friend saw you at New York Comic Con last year, and he came away thinking the same thing, and a friend down at
I'm really
Orlando,
glad.
he
Yeah.
said the same
Good.
thing. Like, I think you've got a
Yeah.
good reputation, so keep doing what
Yeah,
you're
we
doing.
try. Thank you. Yeah, no, I used to do a couple signings a day, and everyone would just line up all at once. And I thought that was the best way to do it to get people through. But then I felt bad because someone's waiting for 90 minutes to see Idiot. If I can just sit there all day and I can get everyone through faster and take more time per person. Like the longer you're there chatting, the more you're hovering around my products, which you might purchase, but you don't have to. Um, and yeah, like I kind of, yeah, I guess my new strategy really is just to sit at the table as long as I can. And with my new assistant road manager, Jake, who's also like a great at sales, very positive and open, that energy is infective. So like it's easier for me to do that with Jake next to me because we're both really good at this. We really enjoy sales and meeting people. Um, yeah, we have a lot of return customers too. People just say like, I've come by to New York just to see you. I don't know why. It just put me in a good mood, and I guess I'll buy whatever's new. Yeah, I don't know if every person in Artist Alley gets that or if it's just me, but it's funny. So I had a woman come by, and she had to be in her 60s, like kind of an unusual customer for
Yeah,
for comics. So I'm like, oh, are you buying for your grandkids, or
yeah.
not to generalize. And she was just there for herself. And she was like 3 feet tall, like you know, leaning on a stroller type thing with books. And she had a lot of my stuff. So I was like, "What do you do? What are you doing here? What do you do for a living?" And she's like, "Well, I help my husband, who's a woodworker." And I go, "Oh, I was just watching this documentary about how expensive it is to make like a clarinet." And there's this rare type of wood. She's like, "Yeah, African blackwood." I'm like, "Holy shit!" She's like, "Yeah, it's
She
the
knows
most
her
expensive
stuff.
type of wood in the world," and she knew all about it. And you can only get it from Africa, and the tree has to fall. I won't bore people with what that is. Next day, she comes by, and her husband made me Thor's hammer out of blackwood,
What?
African blackwood, and this thing has to be worth like $1,000 of materials. Just if you could like melt it down. Just I was shocked, and I had to like force her to take everything we had at the table for free just to pay her back. I came around and I gave her a hug, and while I'm having this interaction with her, there's 10 people in line watching, and hopefully the positive vibes are, you know. And I don't
Yeah.
know why I know that about wood, but it's kind of like small interactions like that, and you just never know what you're gonna get. And I feel like 99% of our people are pretty
Yeah.
good, honestly. So we're really thankful for all of them,
The,
honestly, and the
the
shops that push the books.
the poor person who had to follow her,
Yeah,
we're
I
just
don't know
like,
anything about wood.
I
Sorry,
got
no
nothing
hammer.
about wood. I don't have Thor's hammer to give you. I got nothing.
Yeah,
Sean, will you
yeah,
sign my book, please?
yeah.
Uh,
One guy came by 3 times, and he's like, "How does your ego stands of people coming by and just telling you how much they love your stuff. And I say, hey, I appreciate that, but keep in mind, every now and then there'll be like someone's wife or girlfriend in line who doesn't know who I am, and they're like, I don't know who you are, I don't care. My husband likes Batman. Sign this. So that's kind of helpful and humbling in a way, right? Or some Ninja Turtle person will just walk by and see some Ninja Turtle prints, and they're like, or Final Fantasy VII prints that we have, so not Batman related, and they're like, "Oh, I'll take that," and they're like, "Oh, do you want Sean to sign these?" And they go, "No, I don't know who that is," and they take their prints and they go, and like
Uh,
that's awesome, no
okay.
problem at all. I don't have to sign
Yeah.
anything. Yeah, so you never know. Like some people don't give a shit who you are, some people
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
It reminds me, there's a couple that works in my department, and the husband, he actually went to school with Alex Ross,
Oh, cool.
and
In
and he's
Chicago, I'm
still,
guessing.
yeah, and he's still
Yep.
friends with Alex. The wife, no
Yep.
clue about anything that we're
Yep.
talking about, and so Alex invited them for dinner. And she just, and so it is like, it's fun to hear those kind of stories of somebody who is just unaware. And it's just like, I'm a person going
Yep.
to a person's house, and she was
Yep.
wowed by his house. And then she even tells me now, like going in, she's like, it took me about a minute of walking and looking around and thinking, holy shit, this guy's a big deal. And then like I gotta Google when I can in a second. And then she was like, oh
Right.
shit, no clue, had no idea.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, you know how many people envy your position? And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
next time, can
Yeah.
I be the plus one? You stay
Yeah,
home.
honestly, definitely. It's funny. At Denver, I saw somebody with a signature from Dan Reba, who was a director on Batman TAS,
Hmm.
and I saw that the signature was fresh, and I'm like, is Dan Reba here? Never met him. Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
he's over there. They point, and I'm like, I got to go find this guy and tell him because he directed my favorite episode, which is See No Evil, the one that
Which we
no one
talked
cares
about
about
before.
except for me, right?
Yeah.
So I tracked him down, not easy to find. Sitting behind a bunch of sketches. So I bought a Mr. Freeze off of him. And luckily his agent recognized me and he's like, oh, Sean, is that you? Something, something. I was like, oh, yeah, cool. So now I'm getting like the introduction to Dan Reba. So, because I'm sure he doesn't know who I am or what my book is. Super nice guy, very knowledgeable, and remembered all these great stories about that episode and a few of
Hmm.
the other episodes in particular. And he's like, if you want to come to Boston or Kansas City next year, usually all the animated series guys go out to dinner. It's like I'll be fly on the wall. I don't care.
Well, what I was gonna say when you mentioned your pal Jake, so I owe you and Jake a beer because he's the reason that I got like that up there, your black and white print, and like some other prints. And I got to meet him, and everything that you said, like he definitely helps your table be, not that you needed help with it, but he was the first one
Sure.
I talked to, and he was so positive and he was so easy to talk to. And of course, he and I had an email exchange. That
Yeah.
that was my starting off with talking with that because I thanked him and everything. And then yeah, he was, and yeah, you both said, like I said, I'll buy you guys each a pitcher.
Yeah.
We just
Deal.
got to end up at the same bar next time.
Yeah.
Buy a
Yeah.
whole
Next time in
keg.
Chicago. Yeah. I'll take you up on that.
All right. Let's see. So you're here mostly, not just for this engaging talk already, but because The Last Driver. So I looked back because in talking with you, I'm like, I swear, like you put on my radar quite a long time ago, and I'm like, I know I still have that email where you sent me a picture, and I don't know that I'll be able to share. Oh, there we nope, that's not the one. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, I am.
Can you see this
Yeah.
one? Yeah,
Yeah. So that was the
so
concept.
go ahead.
Yeah, that was the concept sort of pitch. Some agent in Hollywood contacted me and he asked me if I had any pitches for like a medium um, budget action movie. So I was like, yeah, I have this idea that would be good for Kurt Russell for like a Escape from New York type thing, but with more cars. My thinking is Kurt Russell's old; he doesn't want to do a lot of action. He can just sit behind
Yeah.
the wheel. So I stopped what I was doing, and my friend Clay and I put together this pitch really quickly over a few days and just gave it to him. And I went nowhere. I think the producer was on cocaine or just yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, I knew I could salvage the idea, and I
Yeah.
knew I'd be able to make use of this image. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be a variant cover of one of the stores that's
Nice.
opting in for an exclusive. So yeah, like this was it's been polished up a bit here. He no longer has a long leather jacket. He's more like a race car jacket, and the car is different. But yeah, it was an idea that Clay helped me with. As you know, he's been helping me with Zorro and plot holes, and then he's been helping me on Batman
Yeah.
secretly for many years now. And we got to a point where we decided it would just be better for me to do this by myself. Um, so he's still helping me edit, of course, and his help is invaluable. I'm all finished up, and it's coming out in August.
So yeah, I tracked back when you sent that to me, April 2023
Yeah,
is when you sent that. And you were like, I'm still working, I think because it was it fall of 23 when Zorro, the Kickstarter began, I
yeah. So
think.
I did that when Zorro was still being worked on.
Yeah.
That's why it's been so long.
It kind of wows me that these things that you were juggling all of Zorro, and then you had this story in the back of your mind, or you had it more polished off. I don't know. And then it's like here we are over 3 years later, now talking about it's finally coming out. Usually that's like a movie production.
Right. Yeah. I think that I've been so annoyed because the things have been moving so slowly, and I'm just
Sure.
starting to now get back onto Batman. But I think the slowdown was fulfilling the Zorro stuff. The Kickstarter, of course, is a lot to tackle. Um, and then, yeah, I wrote a book for my friend Corinne, who hasn't been announced yet. So I've been doing art for that as well as all the scripts. And yeah, like I don't know why it's taking so long. Like I've been working, 5, 6 days a week. My wife can tell you, like I don't really
Yeah.
take vacations.
I mean, knowing clear then of the idea. So did you have the idea and were like, when I can focus on it, or is it something that you start to write like
Yeah.
sporadically up until
Well,
that is your next project?
I knew I wanted to do sci-fi
Hmm.
guy who is behind the times and he's in a car and he's up to trouble and no one can stop him because he's analog and not digital. And I knew the Last Driver was a good title. That's pretty much
Yeah.
all I had. And then I threw like that pin up. It's like, well, here's a guy that looks like a bad guy. Here's a clock that's ticking down. I don't know. So, it really was only like 30% finished at that point. It wasn't until I finished Zorro that I could really polish up the turd that it was and make it decent. um, yeah, but it honestly, like, I think with most of my stuff, there's a political element to the story, but I
Sure.
don't lean too hard into it. I try to be balanced about it and not hit people over the head. Although you could argue in Punk Rock Jesus, I was pretty much hitting people over the head.
Got it right back here. I don't know.
Yeah,
I tell you as much as I can, especially this version, the deluxe edition of
yeah,
like, and I say also coming from the Midwest, if we don't like something, we'll find a way to not have to talk about it. So me
yeah.
bringing it up is like, no, I genuinely, Punk Rock Jesus, nailed it.
Thanks,
That was
man.
good. It's a
I
great
appreciate
story,
it.
and there's a lot there to unpack. So, like, and that was an original story. This is another original story. I'd imagine that it's not I won't speak for you, but it's nice for you to have like one for them, one for me. One like
Exactly. Yeah,
this is
yeah.
yours. You have full control of this.
Yep. Yeah. So I can do prints and sell stuff Last Driver related on a shop. I'd like for this to be my Hellboy if I
Yeah.
can do that. I like to keep returning to this, do a 5 issue injection between Batman books. That's probably going to take me the next 10, 15 years. Just keep going back and forth between Batman. Um, yeah. And I think I enjoyed plot holes. I enjoyed Zorro, but I think having a IP that's very much me, says what I want to say, get to draw a lot of cars or whatever. I think
Hmm.
this is the book I should have done instead of plot holes, if that makes sense. But
Yeah.
I don't regret the
Yeah.
timeline.
So I don't know I forget how many, I mean, potholes is right back here too, how many issues that was, but Zorro was four. Each one of your White Knight series that you're writing and drawing is eight.
Yeah,
How did 5 issues for a story feel?
good question. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, plot holes was 5. Zorro, like you said, Zorro was 4. Um, I think it's hard to tell a meaningful story in just 4 issues.
Yeah.
Something about 5 just works for me. And I'm a very dense read when I write stuff. Like it probably takes people twice as long to read my stuff because if people complain about reading a Marvel comic, it's mostly action, not a lot of dialogue, and they're done in 15 minutes. I
Hmm.
feel like most of my books take maybe a half hour to read because people usually read it twice. They go back
Yeah.
and they go over the art again, and and if I knew a better way to be more efficient, I would. But unfortunately, I'm kind of a dense person, I guess. And
Well,
5 issues, I feel like I can get a lot done.
I tell you, I think each time that I think that for me, your pacing is always spot on. I don't
Thank
ever feel like the story starts to dip or lag. I do think, and it's you're a car guy, but your foot's on the pedal and it
you. Yeah,
doesn't let up. And then
yeah,
it somehow and I mean, it's a great compliment, I think, too, of because you were an artist first, and then you've said many times of you started
yeah,
to look into screenplay writing, read about that, and you started to write your own, but your material is very dense. So I think even Zorro, it's not like Zorro. I pick up and
yeah.
read it in 20 minutes. And I'm like, oh, I'm done. That was fast. No,
Right.
there's more to it than just
That's
that.
fair. Yeah. I guess I wonder sometimes for myself, like when I'm doing Last Driver and it takes me 5 issues, I wonder what it would look like if I just took the same content and stretched it into 8 issues with more splashes and 2-page spreads, and I did less dialogue per panel. I wonder if it would be a better read if I let it all breathe more.
Hmm.
So I pedal on the gas is obviously a good analogy, but I wonder if that's necessarily like a good thing because I
Yeah.
think people can get exhausted reading my stuff. Like, oh man, I like it, but I need a break. you know?
I think people get exhausted reading Alan Moore and Grant Morrison stuff, and that's not necessarily a compliment.
I know.
So
Yeah.
I'm not exhausted reading your stuff.
Yeah.
So this is just one person's perspective. I'm
Sure.
glad
Thanks.
I'm not exhausted reading after reading your stuff. I know that you've done the rounds, on some podcasting, so you've answered some of the most obvious questions, but there's ones that I've got too, just in case nobody knows. You already answered. This is
Please.
5 issues. It comes out in August. August when? We could just say
August.
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 Yeah. Second half of August
All
on a
right.
Wednesday.
And then final order cutoff. When's final order cutoff?
um, I should know that as well. I think I have it on my Instagram. The other,
Okay.
while I look it up, the other thing
Sure.
too I've been telling people is it's not printed up and down; it's printed landscape.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wanted to try a different format to really get like a widescreen, um, kind of a better way to capture cars because cars are designed horizontally, obviously. Let me see, Final Order Cutoff. Oh man, I thought I was doing a good job, and I don't have it.
Is it whatever on your Instagram, the lunar code, or is that not
Yeah,
it?
do you think that's it? Is that how
I
lunar
don't, I
codes
don't
work?
know. It says
Should
like
know.
06/26, but that could just mean June 20. I don't know. I don't know how that
Yeah,
goes either.
let's say June
Anyways,
26th. Sure.
all right, perfect. Yeah. Go to your comic shop and say you want the last driver. There. I mean that much, right?
Thank
Um
you. I'm sorry,
the
everybody. I should have been more prepared.
the widescreen aspects of this, did that come to you right away? That's just how you wanted. And then did you have any pushback from anybody that you to, shared that with?
Um, uh, not really.
Yeah.
It was always an idea to do it wide. I feel like there hasn't been a wide book done for a while, at least in like
Yeah.
a big, meaningful way. Like Brian K. Vaughan did one a while back with Marco. And as far as like mainstream type stuff, that's all I can think of.
Hmm.
Um, and it was a kind of a fun challenge to play with it. Doing a 2-page spread, especially, it's like a long ass piece of paper on my drafting table, and it's larger than my. I have to like fold it in weird ways, and there's some tricks to it. But my hope is that when people get it, they have a stack of comics and they read one. It's like, oh, this is interesting. It reads
Yeah.
like a wide Calvin and Hobbes type thing. The pushback I get is from my colorist, not so much him, my flatters. A few of them have quit because my stuff is too detailed and each page feels like a 2-page spread. So they
So
feel
they're
like,
exhausted.
yeah, they're
They get
exhausted. There's
exhausted
lots,
working on your stuff.
right. And I tell them it's the same as tilting it portrait. It's the
Yeah.
same amount of square footage. And they, to their brains, are like, no, this feels worse and I need more money. So other than that, everyone's been fine with it. Comic shops I know don't like this to an extent
Yeah.
because their shelves are designed a certain way, and I understand that. So most of the covers are regular, normal, up and
Hmm.
down. The only trick was we had to print the cover on thicker cardstock because with the staples at the top, we don't want the book to like sag. on the
Yeah.
shelf. So, hopefully it'll be a benefit to the book and not a giant pain in the ass. So we'll see.
How much is each issue for fans to go buy?
I would say
The
3.99. I'm not
3
sure.
okay. Because I
Or
think fans
4.99. Don't get mad
okay.
if it's more than that, everybody.
Well, I didn't know if by the paper selection
Right.
impacts that or not.
Uh, I don't know. Sure,
Okay.
it must some. Yeah, it has a little bit, I think.
It's
Yeah,
just
I
not going
wish
to
I
be
was
a
more
$10
convinced that.
ish, $10
No, no,
each
no,
issue book or anything like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
no, no. It's just 22, 25 pages ish. There's also going to be a special San Diego Comic Con exclusive that'll be an ash can, and it'll be all black and white. It'll be on crappy thin
Nice.
newsprint because I think that's the cool way to do it.
Ah,
I did like little black dots and like halftone effects instead of color, so that's actually the version I'm most excited about. Like I love color, don't get me wrong, but I'm kind of more of a black and white guy. So if you're going to San Diego, come by. I'll have them on my table. Image will have them. I don't know how much they're going to be,
mhm.
but they're going to come with a free signature and maybe a book plate or something. So
I'm a sucker for the newspaper print also. Because it's
yeah,
just not too common
glad.
anymore, when they print
Yeah,
something on that style, it feels like authentic. I think, and we'll get into this here soon. Like the Absolute Batman Year One included two different books, and one is the style from the 80s, and it was a
Mhm.
newspaper print type paper, and that's just the one
Right.
I keep going back to. I think the Killing Joke
Yeah,
Absolute has both versions, and the one is more of the newspaper and it just
right,
feels very authentic, like it's a
right.
cool, authentic feel to it. Um, but of course, you're talking probably niche of a niche
Yeah,
when you start to do that too. So I totally
yeah,
understand why it's rare.
yeah.
You got to think of,
People,
we got to make money on this.
yeah. I mean, the Wednesday Warrior is used to seeing color, so give him or her color.
Yeah.
All right, so August 19, the first issue hits.
All right.
So San Diego Comic Con will have the Ashcan, which will be kind of a preview of issue one, black and white, and final FOC. I don't know. Just tell your
Okay.
local comic shop.
There you go. I think I had you said something about a challenging part for it. So coming into an original story like this, even though you've done some original stories of your own, do you seek out I guess how do you challenge yourself? And this sounds like a boring question, but like, it's I haven't done this. I really want to try. So even you
Yeah.
making it widescreen, that's a challenge.
Mhm. Yeah. That
And
was
then
one of them.
are
Yeah.
you aware you're challenging yourself?
I always try to do
Yeah,
something. Politically too. I mean, the main character is Native American. If I was going to do this book at DC, they would want me to have sensitivity readers or something like
sure.
that. I'm not doing that. I,
Yeah.
I think that stuff can go too far. If it was about a specific Native American tribe I was writing about, yeah, as a writer, I would do my homework and get it right and try to track someone down. But for a sci-fi book where it's not even mentioned what tribe he's from, it doesn't matter. Like I'm not going to play that game. And I also have a trans character in here. And I do have I have a couple trans friends, and I've run the idea by them. And I'm not using them as a shield or anything, but I know enough about them, and I know I want to have a trans character in there, but it's not the point of the story. I'm not trying to earn political points. The last
Sure.
time I mentioned on a podcast that I had a lesbian Zorro, people made videos attacking me for tricking them into buying a lesbian
That's how you
Zorro
know
book.
you've made it, Sean. No matter what you say, you're gonna have people coming after you.
I think for anybody, if you're lesbian or black or Indian or trans, I think the point of what you're aiming for is to normalize this so it doesn't matter. Being trans should be just as boring as your hair color. That's sort of the goal. And when you're playing the card and getting attention for it, it's tricky because at some point when you've made it, you can't use that card anymore. You have to just. I have a friend who's a lawyer and he's gay, and he was talking to me about how he wishes that G would be pulled out of LGBT because like he's wealthy, his husband's wealthy, they don't have kids, like they're doing better than most straight couples, and like to tie them into this intersectionality feels wrong to him at this point.
Sure.
Then maybe they made it and they don't need it anymore. No, there's a ton of gay friends of mine who would totally disagree with that, obviously, and that's fine. But as far as for this project, I wanted to tackle some politically tricky stuff here. Even the beginning is basically this about a civil war, like a digital civil war that takes place in the U.S. And you have like two hands on either side of the page, and one is blue, one is red, and there's little pictures of things happening, and you see Greta Thunberg, and yeah, there you go. You see the trans flag, or sorry, LGBT flag, George Floyd. That is as political as the book gets, really. If you just had that, you'd be like, oh, Sean's about to get canceled. Really, it's a book about race car driving, and there's a lot of fun stuff in there. But there is a backdrop of this divide, which I think speaks a lot to how many of us are feeling right now in the country.
Yeah.
And my character feels like caught in the middle. There's people that live in these expensive, futuristic cities, as people that are stuck in the desert, and he's sort of in the neutral zone in between them as a smuggler. He doesn't fit in with the liberals because he didn't do enough to fight their battles or stand up for Native American rights. And the red people who are conservative don't like him because he's a Hollywood elite. He used to be a stunt driver, and
Hmm.
he's got dark skin or whatever. But it doesn't really lean into it too much. It's just kind of hovering in the background.
I think
Okay.
so this is what you shared on your Instagram. You said the first three pages of The Last Driver, and
Yeah.
this is page two. And this is a good, I think I wanted to have this prepped. I think it's a good display of what you were just talking about, of like, it's
Right.
almost like seriously split right down the middle. You're
Yeah.
not picking a side. You're not saying F
Right.
this or F this side or anything. And it is, I think
Right.
it's balanced here. And I think that's, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think for what you're saying, this is a good representation of that. Now remove
Yeah.
that and just look at it, and it's just like when you said your stuff was dense.
Hmm.
Okay, studying this, maybe you could get a little exhausted. Oh, sure, sure, okay.
Right. Right.
But it's
Yeah.
like this page alone has a lot, you know. And
Right.
so I think
Yeah.
I think this is a standout page, and this is page two.
Right. Yeah. It hits you with the stuff up front. It has like any like bad 80s action movie. There's this like in a world where
Yes,
it's
I was
civil
just gonna
war,
say
like that kind of,
that.
yeah, like it's supposed to be a little bit tongue in cheek, like a B movie. Um,
Yeah,
but I know I have friends who voted for Trump. My in-laws voted for Trump. They will look at this and go, that's exactly right. Look how crazy the liberals are with their polar bears and their gay flags and their pink nail polish. And I have a lot of liberal friends who be like, yeah, conservatives are way too obsessed with Bud Light and Teslas and whatever. Like this
yeah,
this doesn't necessarily turn either side off. I feel like this is pretty fair to what both
yeah.
sides would claim.
You've riled up both sides against the
Yeah,
other. Mission accomplished. There you go.
right.
The page before this too, I think is like this is as I am not by any means a history buff, but I like history and I always did well in
Right.
history. So just, seeing this as well, I think like, just from just looking at it, I'm like, oh, this is badass. This is great.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love drawing. I love historical stuff, and I don't get to draw this very often. I feel like a
Hmm.
Civil War buff would give this his approval because everything is accurate. The saber, Grant and Lee and all that stuff.
Got this guy right here.
Yeah, some guy in the middle.
He's got what a weird hat on. Let's
Yeah,
see if I can get to what I really want to pull up from your Instagram because I was just like, oh, this is great. Is this the the car is my chapel, this wheel is my Bible, this road is my religion. Let us pray. And I was
yeah.
like,
Thank you.
great,
I'm very proud of
great.
that.
That's your pitch right there. That's the movie poster. Come on,
Honestly,
Kurt.
yeah.
Why
And
didn't Kurt Russell do this?
I hope so, man. I mean, he doesn't know who I am, but I hope this gets around enough where someone's like, "Hey, Kurt, what about that comic that you put out?" And he's like, "Sean Murphy, who?"
That photographer? He does
Yeah, right. Yeah,
comics
the
too.
guy who got hit in the baseball with his dick.
Yeah, that guy. No, I'm not going to do that. I mean, I'm glad that he went to comics, but
Right.
I thought that was really cool.
Cool. Thanks, man. Yeah, that poster is kind of where I knew that the spirit of the book was, and now the trick is to sort of fill out the middle part of the book to make sure it matches that vibe.
Well, did you have?
There aren't a lot of car comics in
Yeah,
Western comics anyway, so I feel like there's kind of a void that I can fill.
did you have before? And if this is spoiler, then don't say anything. But was there something that you were like, damn it, I'm putting this in the freaking book, and I'm going to find a way, whether that is writing or drawing.
Yeah, it would be a writing.
Okay.
Um, what would it be? I oh, so I have I use some Native American language there. It's I don't say which tribe he is, but he is Mohican. And I've been reading a lot of books, and I wanted to have the Mohican word for mechanic in there. And it's tricky because a lot of the tribes in the New England area, and the Mohicans were in northern New York, they spoke Algonquin. It's like a common language for a lot of the
Hmm.
tribes there. But you would argue that there's a sleeping language, which is a language that no one wrote down. It's just passed on from word to mouth. So I actually got in touch with the tribe. Um, they were in Massachusetts, and they fought during the Revolutionary War. They four white people, and eventually that didn't work, and the white people pushed them out, and now they have a reservation in Wisconsin. So I contacted the tribe. There aren't that many left, and I wrote to the woman, and not expecting to get an answer.
Hmm.
And she was extremely helpful and happy that people are reaching out to even ask. And she said, like, a lot of Mohican elders will fight over this question because, like, no one wrote it down. We didn't have a written language really, and so it's hard to find a consensus. But
Hmm.
she went away with it for a few days and came back, and she gave me. I cut and pasted it. I can't pronounce it. I'm not even going to try. It's two really long words for the Mohican language. They don't have a word for car because cars didn't exist, but they
Makes
had a
sense.
word for healer. So they went with one who heals, and then the second word is something that drags itself along. So that's their best way to think of a car. And I thought that was wild. So in the
Yeah.
book for the next volume, I want to have the characters say to each other, "How you doing?" "Oh, dragging myself along," as kind of a wink and a nod. Now, again, the
Yeah.
word Mohican isn't in the book. It's like very
Hmm.
vague Native American, but that is what it is. And it is as correct as I can make it because I literally
Nice.
contacted the tribe. Because my editor was like, "Oh, be careful. You're a white guy. None of us are native. Like,
Sure.
you don't want to get canceled." But Clay's more careful about that stuff than I am.
Uh, my last question on this before I move into a next topic, as you know, paying attention to our time here. The Since the script is by you for
Hmm.
you, do you still do it the way that you would if you were writing? You just said you're writing something for Corinne
Yeah,
to draw and stuff. Do you still stick to that because that's just how you professionally work?
yeah. Full script. So not the Marvel style.
Yeah.
Panel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Every panel is described. For Corinne, I'm also doing layouts too. So I think visually, it helps me write the scripts because I know what's possible within a panel. Because if I
Hmm.
can draw it, then so can Corinne or anybody. Um, yeah, so I still write full scripts. And I want to know my ending before I write the beginning. I don't see comics as prose. Like, there's not a lot of dilly dallying in my work. Like every sentence tries to move the story forward. Everything is edited down and distilled as much as I can make it.
Hmm.
Um, like when I read, I like Watchmen and all that stuff, but there's
Yeah.
clear parts where it's just indulging in itself. But that's what's
Yeah.
cool about Watchmen.
If you're
My
in the
brain,
mood.
yeah, 100%. I'm not knocking him or Grant,
Yep. Yeah.
but my stuff doesn't indulge. It just goes for better or worse. That's just how my brain works.
Yeah. Clay was on. I talked to Clay actually twice already this year, and he'd mentioned that there's been discussions between you two of resurrecting the Badass podcast.
Yeah,
Maybe? Don't want to
maybe I
speak
don't know.
about it? Maybe's about the
I
best
found
answer because you're like, maybe. I don't know. That's completely right down the middle. Maybe yes, maybe no.
we definitely want to do at least one more surprise episode because
Yeah.
there's a few Justice League Unlimiteds that had some Batman that we missed. And if I have Dan Riva now and he wants to come on
In
and
your
talk, that
pocket.
would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, doing like a normal serialized podcast, I just don't have time for that
Sure.
like Clay does. So I don't feel like it's really going to come back. Maybe an episode or two surprise.
All right. Well, you'll
Sorry.
get one download at least.
I'll
So
leave
there
the
you go.
Batmaning to you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Endorsed by Sean.
Yep.
Perfect. Into Batman because got to talk about Batman. Have
Yep.
to. It's gonna follow you until you die, probably, Sean. Whether you
Yep.
are sick of it or not.
Yep. I am going to
First,
kill him. My
yeah.
goal is I'm going to kill Bruce Wayne someday
Title of this episode: I am going to kill him.
for a
Sean Murphy
Batman
on
podcast.
Batman. Yeah.
Yeah, it might be like 3 more volumes, but I one thing that Frank Miller
Yeah.
said was something like he never had the balls to kill Bruce, and it's not too late. Maybe he will, but
Hmm.
I'll do it. I definitely will. I
That's
don't know
it's
how, but
that it's this is your world, your Batman story, universe, whatever. So I do think give people an ending.
yeah,
Can't go much more of an ending than he's dead. He's
right,
gone. So
yeah,
you heard it
and
here.
I do want to do a year one White Knight year one someday. So even if I kill him, I
Yeah,
could
that'd
still
be
do
awesome.
another volume where he's just traditional Batman without the collar, normal
Ugh,
Batman things.
I'm there. I'm
Cool.
there. Give me all of it. I want it all. Just like I annoyed the hell out of you last year because I saw Penguin Press, Penguin Random House had
Hmm.
up for pre-order Batman White Knight Absolute Edition. And
Right.
I was like, because I've annoyed anybody who will listen. Absolute editions to me are comics, like the IMAX version of comics.
Cool.
I love absolutes. To control myself, I stuck with just Batman absolutes. I have
Hmm.
dipped outside of that just a little bit. And it is one that in the comic circles, people are ready to buy another version of White Knight. They just did the compacts
Hmm.
version
Yeah.
recently, which is cool. And then they're going the total opposite way. And it is confirmed, set for July 14th, the absolute edition of White Knight, the first volume, first eight
That's right.
issues.
I'm psyched. Yeah, black
So
and white. I had a bunch of extra notes and back matter that I create. I did like my favorite 5 panels from the book. I went through
nice.
why I think they work. I went through my least favorite panels, talked about why they didn't work. I did a lot of like Easter egg stuff that people might not have caught. So there's a lot more in the back that you've ever gotten before. So if you do spring for this, if you're a
Good.
triple dipper, hopefully it'll be worth your while.
It's okay. Single issues, trade paperback, hardcover, absolute. I've only got four
Okay, so
versions.
you're a
Okay.
what's the dipping
Quadruple
five
dipper.
times? What do you call that?
I'll get a jacket just like on
I,
SNL, the Five
yeah.
Timers Club.
Oh boy, man, I think that's just called an addiction.
Yes, because I mean, and I don't do that with everything either. So it's not just like ass kissing. There's plenty of other stories, but it is like
Yeah.
I do love physical. Spacing becomes an issue with physical.
Right. Yeah.
But like screens, we're looking at screens. I've said this to others of we're looking at screens all day for work. A lot of people looking at screens all day. So if
Yep.
you're to read now your entertainment on a screen as well, it can I don't know, it just doesn't register as much. It's more disposable. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to go and buy the physical. I mean, I got right here like your White Knight #1. It's like I want the physical. Well, then the collection comes out, and it's like, well, that's easier to put on a shelf and grab and
Mhm.
read. So I did
Right.
that with the trade because I missed the hardcover somehow. And then I went back and I'm like, I need a hardcover. I'm a hardcover sucker. So I bought the
Yeah.
hardcover. And then now, yeah, the
Yeah.
absolutes come. It's like you saw and maybe you read it and I told you maybe you can just throw it in the trash and I'll never know. But now I'll know. I sent you a long email of like, you didn't ask for this. But here's something that Absolute Edition people, I know this is what they like. This is what I like.
Yeah.
Absolutes have somehow fallen off. I did an episode, a fun one last year with a friend, just going over our favorite absolutes and why. And the extras that's the selling point. And
Hmm.
they've really gotten laxed with their absolute editions of,
Yeah.
like here's the director's cut, which is the script. Well, a lot of people don't give a shit about the script. They kind of
Right.
don't. Give us some
Yeah.
art, some extras, some commentary, anything. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I was just really like, man, I hope Sean goes.
Yeah.
They listen. I don't know how these meetings go. Do they approach you or do you approach them or
No, there's no meeting. Well, so first of all, thank you for that email. I don't know if I think I might have asked you, but I'm obviously very open to your suggestions. Like you're the target audience. So if you
okay,
want more back matter, I can certainly take a few days and do that. And I did. I don't remember how much more there is. I think maybe 20 extra pages of content, a lot of like notes on, like, there isn't really many more sketches that you haven't seen, but
sure,
um, yeah. So the meeting really, it's just an editor named Reza who's like, "Hey, we're doing this. Do you have anything extra you want to say?" So it really is up to the creator to push it. So if you're getting absolute editions that aren't much better than deluxe, then I would say it's either the writer or the artist who isn't coming up with anything cool and making it.
sure,
And honestly, like, people are looking to for authenticity
yeah,
in the artists and creators. If I can take you through my worst 5 panels and self, flagellate for a bit, I feel like that makes me stand out in people's minds because I'm willing to humble myself and admit that I suck
yeah,
sometimes. And they're like, "Oh man, I feel like I know Sean. I'm going to go buy his table." Yeah, I think that stuff is actually worth it in the long run. And doing the extra bits to really connect with people, that's what they want, whether they realize it or not. So I would say to every creator listening to this, if you've got a deluxe and they ask for extra content, give them more than what they're asking for
yeah,
and really put your mark on it as if it's your last.
yeah. Because I mean, and I understand the challenge a little bit too, especially in the age of social media. I've told you, I think you're very transparent with your fans. You share a lot of stuff, and so yeah, if someone's to come back to you and ask, "Do you have anything extra?" Like, Well, nothing I haven't shared before. Like I'm
Yeah.
pretty open with fans because that's they like seeing that. That's how they come back and check. That's how you get them to buy your book as it's coming out.
Yeah.
So I could understand the challenge, but I feel like that's to come up with something new is like you're just gonna look over your work, and I really like that. Five I like, five I don't. Those are good
Hmm.
talking points as well. For
Right.
people like, oh, I disagree with Sean on both sides.
Right. Yeah.
This wasn't
Yeah.
very good. This was awesome. What's he talking about? I think that's
Right.
cool
Yeah.
and it is authentic.
Right. Then any kind of listicle you can do, any kind of top 10, any kind of
Yeah.
Easter egg, like if you can point out like a secret toy in the background of one of my books, then you can go up to your friend and rub it in his stupid face that you caught that and he didn't.
Yeah.
Stuff like
The
that, it goes above and beyond the normal read.
the friend I mentioned at the beginning that met you at Chicago, he's finally reading because he's a Marvel zombie, and
Mm.
he's finally reading White Knight, and he just read or got to basically like the Batman shrine that Joker sees.
Oh,
And so
right.
he
Yeah.
was geeking out about that. And especially, and I pulled up, I'm like, "Oh, did you catch this?" And I pulled up the little Batman 66 squirt gun, the
Oh, that.
worst toy idea of
Yeah.
all time. I'm like, "Did you
Yeah.
spot this back there?" And he goes, "Holy shit, why was that?" And I'm like, exactly why. But
Yeah.
Sean put it on the page like because it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Ooh, Ryan, I have a quick sidebar. So you
Let's
got
do
me
it.
thinking about 89. The long pistol that Joker has,
Yeah.
does it like accordion out, or is it just a long barreled pistol?
There's no way he was doing the whole parade with it full length, right?
So
There's no
four
way.
feet long. Right.
But
We'll
when
go with
he
4 feet.
pulls it out of his pants, it's not accordioning. It's
Right.
not like we're supposed to
Yeah.
believe, I think, it is the 4 feet the entire
Right.
time.
I agree. I don't think it. I don't know, collide. If that's the right word, telescope, whatever, like an old
Yeah.
cell phone. No, sorry,
Hmm.
an old phone. Yeah, I don't think it does either. I always thought, but I've heard a few podcasts challenging me, saying it clearly collapses because how else would it fit? And I'm like, well, that's why Joker is so crazy, is he can fit long things in his pants and no one knows about
Google that one too, kids.
it. Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, we're led to believe by what we see on screen, right?
Yeah.
If we want to make up all sorts of bullshit about what we don't see, well, then these are going to be very different movies than what we saw.
Right.
Like, what
Yeah.
we're supposed to follow along with what we see, and what I see is a
Yeah.
fully 4 foot gun, which makes
Same.
it even better, even
Yeah.
funnier, and the punchline that really that took down the damn Batwing is this
Right.
freaking
Oh yeah, that too.
ridiculous gun. Like,
Well,
all of it is
Ryan,
perfect.
you were paying attention. You know it. That had a 4 foot barrel, and that thing is capable of doing a lot of damage to a bat wing. No, but I agree. I mean,
Clearly,
Joker pulling that out of his pants, that's the Acme. That's the Coyote
yes.
pulling a rocket out of his pants. It doesn't actually fit. That's what Joker does. He does silly.
Yep. Which
Okay,
that's
cool. I'm
another
glad we
taking it
agree.
back to the beginning of I'm actually working on a Wile E. Coyote thing right now, and it's up there with one of my favorite things I've ever done.
Oh,
And I'm getting
nice.
paid
Yeah.
for it. Ridiculous.
I love this.
Um, okay, white knight, black and white. So is it going to be two books in one slipcase? One colored, one black and
There's
white, or black and
I,
white's just
I don't know.
okay.
I can't remember if there's a black and white version and a color version. I don't know if they're sold together, two books, and I don't know if they're all the same book. I mean, that would be a really thick read if it was two
Yeah.
in that same package. I don't know.
I mean, going here, this is like 496 pages. I
Wow,
think it's
that
done
should,
the same thing. So the
yeah,
year one over there, I think they list that also of how many pages, but it's two books in one
yeah.
slipcase. So I don't know what to
That
expect.
that has to be, yeah. So you're getting both then.
Okay.
Almost 500 pages. That has to
Yeah.
be
That's too
16
heavy.
issues worth. Yeah.
That's too heavy for one, but an exciting, do you know that if this is the cover?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
that's always the cover that I chose. I cover one. I was still finding myself, the one that you have behind you.
Yeah.
Um, actually, that is one of the first things I talk about in the back is why I don't like that cover.
All right. Um,
um, and I still own it, and I hope to sell it one day. But this one here is the cover for issue 2, which I
yeah,
think
it's
encapsulates
great.
the idea better.
I agree. The takeaway of this though is the black and white. So the question's kind of twofold. What is it about black and white that fans like, and what is it that artists like? Because it does seem like artists really love, we go
Mhm.
back to authenticity. It
Yeah.
feels authentic being just black and white. So why is this something that you're excited about?
Well, yeah, I draw for black and white. So I
Hmm.
won't, if I have a sky, I'm probably going to make it black. Whereas most artists will probably just leave it white and let the colors come in with dark blue.
Hmm.
I draw my cast shadows. So if you have a hand hovering over a table, you're going to see the hand shadow underneath. A lot of artists will just draw an outline of a hand for the colorist. So
Yeah.
the colorist might say, coloring Sean is boring because he's done all the hard work and he's taken all this stuff out of it. I even draw my own rain. I don't let them
You
do
just
light.
can't win with these people, you know?
Because my brain is wired for black and white, it's just nice to see that version. And I'm an art snob, and I just like the old school, just less is more. But I
Yeah.
totally understand why 80% of customers are going to want to see color. And
Yeah.
then to correct myself, like I did have Matt Hollingsworth add flames and fire to the Batmobile that I didn't add by hand. So I'm not above using it every now and then if I forget.
Mhm. Nice. We're getting close on time. I have a couple more questions. You have time for a couple more questions?
Yeah,
I'll
please,
keep them quick and concise.
please.
It's because it's all about Batman. Uh,
Okay,
okay, so
yeah.
we just pointed at this. This is issue number one.
Hmm.
What from your side of the table here, and I'm just talking about like your comics, not the pieces of art, but like what have you come across is probably the most valuable thing of yours? Is it White Knight number one? Is it a certain hardcover? From I don't know, Punk Rock Jesus is hard to find in this deluxe edition.
Oh, like so on the collector's market, what item of mine is the hardest, the most expensive?
Yeah, not your original art because that
Right,
clearly would be more.
right. So I don't know, but I'll throw
Okay,
some possibles at you.
sure.
There's a Star Trek The Borg one shot that I drew, and that's hard to find. I don't see those at shows very often. Someone told me that they bought Off Road, the first printing from Oni Press. They said sometimes it sells for $1,000. I think maybe the clear winner though is going to be my Wolverine ABCs. It's the thing that got me blacklisted in Marvel for a while. Um,
Uh-oh.
and I only made 300 copies and I gave all of them away. I didn't really sell more than a few. And
Wow.
when those pop up online, they're at least $500.
Wow. What is Wolverine ABCs? What
So
is
when
that?
I was working on Joe the Barbarian, and Grant was late with a script, so I would keep myself busy by doing this exercise where I would draw Wolverine in the shape of an A, the shape of a
Hmm.
B, and I would add Black Widow next to him, and then for like C, or I think it was C, the Cannonball Special, or sorry, Speedball S. I can't remember actually. But I
I don't
basically
know.
threw in a lot of characters with, well, if you Google Wolverine ABCs, Sean Murphy, you'll find it. It's only Marvel characters. I redesigned all of them, and I was going to use it as a way to get in the door at Marvel. And I did not sell them. I just printed them and gave them away because I knew you didn't want to get in trouble. And
Hmm.
then some big professional came up to me in like 2014 and said, "Sorry, this is like 2010 maybe. You really ought to be selling these. You're crazy. Everyone's selling illegal stuff. Why aren't you doing it too?" So I go, "Okay." That show is when Marvel caught me and they
Of
decided
course.
to make an example out of me and they tried to get legal on me.
Damn.
I got my own lawyer and things, we agreed to disagree. I pulled it off the internet. You can still find it. And I defend Marvel. They have their right
Sure.
to protect their IP. And um, I don't appreciate the way they handle it, but maybe I caught the guy in a bad day. Like I'd love to do X-Men for them one day. Um, so who knows what'll happen in the
Yeah.
future. I'm not slamming the company. All this isn't
Sure.
drama or anything. I'm just describing what the ABCs
Yeah.
are. But
Yeah.
yeah, if you
No,
look
I
that up,
had no idea.
find
I'm
that
gonna.
on eBay.
Oh,
It's
I'll be
expensive.
Googling this. I'll be
Yeah.
Googling this. And I'll be like, Sean, I made a really stupid purchase, but $2,000. Look at that.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Um, move. Okay. Batman Scarecrow year one. I got those signed by you.
Mhm.
What comes to mind if somebody mentions to you Batman Scarecrow year one?
Bruce Jones, the writer, was really great to meet with, and I remember having a great time with him and his wife in Pennsylvania, I think. I only met them once. And I was just a ham and egger, a nobody at the time. That paid my bills for a while. He was, close to retirement at the time. He used to work at EC Comics, so he has a lot of great stories back in the
Awesome.
day and all that. So, yeah, I think it was mostly the working with Bruce, who I haven't talked to for many many years.
It's very cool Scarecrow cover by it. Oh, I got stupid reflection, but I
That's
do.
all
I
right.
think
Yeah,
that's a pretty cool cover.
that's Zach Howard did the covers. He was the guy that I think he got me the gig because he had to pass on it, but he agreed to do my covers, which was fine because at the time I didn't like doing covers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, White Knight universe. Let's tease what's coming because I mean we've talked about it already. I think you've mentioned it. Um, you're being transparent again that there's more White Knight coming.
Yep.
When can we expect? What can we expect? Because you did tease a pretty good coming up next at the end
Yep.
of your last book.
Yeah. Uh, I'm working on it now. Like I just started page one last week, drawing it. I have an issue or two written. It's going to be 8 issues again. There will be a gap in the middle where it's going to be a 48 pager called Catwoman White Knight, and we're
Nice.
going to get into where the hell Catwoman has been, and it's going to be all splash pages. And I want to do a story about the 9 lives and deaths of Bruce and Selena, and sort of nod to some classic homages and yeah, just to try a whole issue, the splash pages, a la Walt Simonson seems like a fun challenge.
Very cool.
Um, this won't be announced until next year. I'm guessing maybe a year from now.
Nice.
You'll start seeing talking about it. I would like to get 4 or 5 issues in the can if I can.
Yeah. You stick to your plans. Um, you like I think that last episode of Badass, I remember you kind of laid out what your what was coming and this was part of it. You mentioned this Catwoman idea on that one. You mentioned something about with Batmobiles. Um Catwoman one, I think you and Clay have talked about. It's been something you guys have thought about including, and not maybe as fleshed out, but I know you've mentioned Catwoman and doing
Yep.
something with Catwoman in this
Yeah, he always wanted to.
universe.
So where I work cars into my plots, Clay works wrestling, and I don't know a lot about wrestling. Clay doesn't give a shit about cars. Um, so when he thought about doing his own White Knight spinoff of Catwoman, he wanted to do a wrestling thing with her. But I've canceled that idea. I'm just going to be doing White Knight by myself from now on.
Yeah,
Managing other people, writing and drawing is just too much for me to deal with. So I think it's just better if I just do it all myself now. And
sure.
when I do Catwoman, I'm not going to, sorry, Clay, do a wrestling book. He already knows that. He's welcome to pitch his idea to DC and like no
Yeah,
one's stopping him.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So for the story of White Knight Volume 4, it's going to be Superman is only 20. Bruce is in his 60s. He's getting old. He wants to sort of retire, but he doesn't because he can't give it up. And the government hires him to look into what Clark is because they don't know what a superhero is. There's no such thing as someone with superpowers. So Bruce does investigating. He doesn't like what he finds. This kid's way too powerful, and he decides he needs to fight him. And he tricks Superman in the Fortress of Solitude, and he sucks his powers away. I should have said it already, but spoilers. Um,
They'll forget in a year
okay.
plus, it'll be fine. It's fine.
So when he sucks Clark's powers away, just like in Superman 2, the difference is this time he opens up a Stargate accidentally and he realizes there's a portal and there are people headed to Earth now called Kryptonians who are really pissed off. And Clark was the only person who possibly could have helped him. So big mistake. For part two, he and Clark have to work together now, and they hate
Mhm.
each other to go through the portal and get Clark's powers back. And along the way, we start introducing Justice League characters. Um,
Which we got a
but
hint
they're
of in Generation Joker.
right. So they're
Small
sort of
little pieces.
right. So
Cool.
they're gonna. This is super spoilery. Pause. So the computer in the Fortress of Solitude, something triggers the defense system, and it zaps a couple of the military members with superpowers. Like you are gifted the power of the 4 Kryptonian gods, or whatever. So instantly, Diana suddenly has the powers of Wonder Woman, Flash, um, who else? Hawk Girl, and Green Lantern. So it's not going to be a slow build up. We're just going to kind of in an instant get to a JLA verse. So it's just like JLA for people that don't really care about JLA.
Yeah.
um, and the joke will be that when this happens, Green Arrow is in the bathroom and he comes back and he sort of missed out in getting superpowers.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
uh, Last question. Does it already have an official title or is it still kind of working?
So the title will be Batman White Knight of Tomorrow.
Nice. I know
So
that World's Finest was a possibility at some point, or
yeah,
just was that
so
just casual talk?
yeah, that was one of the ideas. But Superman is known as the son of tomorrow.
Yeah.
So White Knight of Tomorrow just has a better ring to it, I think.
Yeah, I like that. I think that sounds good. And I just wouldn't say anything. I'd just say okay and move on
Yep.
if I didn't. So
Yep.
I like it.
Thanks.
Nice.
Appreciate it.
Um, I could keep talking to you. I have a lot of questions. Always fun talking to you, but I don't want to keep you here all night.
Thanks, man.
Um, yeah, The Last Driver, Final Order Cutoff, sometime in June. So just go to your
Yep.
comic shop. Say you want it.
Yep. Yep. We've
Five
got
issues, August
10
19th.
we have 10 shops doing variant already. I think there's already a bit of a stir about it, which makes me happy, or maybe I'm just up my own ass. I'm hoping it's a big hit. I haven't been paid a thing for this book in a year and a half, so I'm just hoping I can get my time and money back.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I got to go. My dog needs to go out. I'm so
Uh,
sorry if you hear him clicking around. He only has
n-
3 legs.
no, it's all good. People can follow you. Instagram, is that just usually that's where I see you share mostly
Yep.
everything? Sean Gordon Murphy on Instagram.
Yep. Sean Gordon Murphy. And then on Twitter, it's SGM Art Sales. That's just Jake's account, and he'll just retweet. We don't really follow anybody or
Yeah.
post anything personal. It's just business stuff. So, and new art, of
Excellent.
course.
All right. Well, that's all I
Thanks,
have.
man.
So
Appreciate
again,
it,
I
Ryan.
appreciate it. I appreciate it, Sean.
Thanks again, brother.